Is it going? Okay. So, guys, today we need to talk about these things called polyatomic ions. Does anybody know what the prefix poly means?
More,
Multiple or many. Okay.
Yep.
So, you guys, a polyatomic ion. What does polyatomic mean?
Many atoms.
Many atoms. And
Yeah.
so, you guys, a polyatomic ion. We're gonna call it a group of atoms that works together as one ion. Okay, it's a group of atoms that works together as one ion. And these groups, you guys, are not something I'm gonna expect you to memorize right now. As you continue to use them throughout this class and throughout chemistry, you'll get more familiar with them, but you'll notice on your tables right now, there's a yellow card. Okay, these are the periodic tables you used yesterday, but if you flip that over, guys, on the back, there is a list of some common polyatomic ions. Okay, there's a list of some common polyatomic ions. So, polyatomic ions in compounds pretty much work the same way ions and elements work, all right? And so today we're gonna work on writing names and formulas for things that contain a polyatomic ion. And so today, if we have a metal and a polyatomic, okay, to write the formula, again, just like yesterday, we have two steps. And so step one is going to be to find the symbols and the charges of both ions. Some you might have to find from your periodic table. Some you might have to find from your polyatomic ion chart. And then the second thing you're gonna do is the exact same, guys. You will make the total charge equal 0. So you'll make the total charge equal 0 again today. How do you know when you have a polyatomic ion? A big hint for you guys is that the ending, remember yesterday when we had that single element and we ended it with "ide"? There are gonna be some polyatomics that end in "ide", but a big hint for you is if something ends in "ate" or "ite", you know that you're gonna be looking at that polyatomic ion card. Okay, so for example, if I give you potassium sulfate, if it were just sulfur, how would it end? What would it say? It would say sulfide. But because this says sulfate, that's a big hint that you need to look at this card. Okay, so first off, figure out what's potassium. K. Yep, it's K. And what's the charge on it?
How to get your stuff right.
What's the charge on K, on potassium?
1+.
Yep. And then sulfate, guys, we have to look at this card. And if you look in the second column, it says 2 minus. Sulfate is SO4. And because it's in that second column where it says 2 minus, we know that its charge is -2. So we put it in there just like we put the ions yesterday. It just happens to be a group. So does this total 0?
No.
It does not. What do I need more of?
One more potassium.
I need another potassium. So if I put that on there, now does it total 0?
Yep.
It sure does. So how do I write this? K2 SO4. Now, we do not want the -2 in there because remember that these positives and the negatives, they cancel each other out so that our compound is neutral. Okay, what if I give you barium nitrate? Barium nitrate. Again, you see that 8, and it gives you a hint that you need to go to that polyatomic ion card. What's barium? Ba plus 2, yep. And what's nitrate?
Nitrogen. Oh, wait, no, wait.
NO3, yep. And what's the charge on that NO3?
-1.
-1. Does this total 0? Nope. What do I need more of?
Nitrate.
The nitrate. So if I put another nitrate on here, does it total 0? Yes, it does. How do I write this? Ba. And what do I do to show that I have 2 of these nitrates? How could I show that I have 2 groups? I can't change the numbers because then that would change what it is. Parentheses, exactly, guys. So I'm going to put this nitrate, NO3, in parentheses, and then put the 2 outside to show that I have 2 of them. Okay? Now, if I give you the formula and you have to name it, it's going to be very similar. So for naming, I'm going to slide this up. For naming, step 1 is going to be to name the first ion or polyatomic. Second step is going to be to name the second ion or polyatomic. Some things you need to know. Do not change the ending of a polyatomic. If it says 8 or ite, you leave it as 8 or ite. So don't change the ending of your polyatomic. If the second ion is an element, what do we change the ending to? When you have a plain element as the second one, what do we change the ending to? Ide. So name the first ion or polyatomic, then name the second one, but don't change the ending if it came from the card. If it's an element, you make it ide. So for example, Ca, ClO3, 2. First element, Ca, calcium. Then you see that group and you know that you need to go to your card. And what are we looking for? ClO3, which is what? Chlorate. That's it. That's all we do. Okay, what if I give you Ba3PO4 2? Ba3PO4 2. What's Ba? Barium. What's PO4?
Phosphate.
Phosphate. Okay, one more. NH4HCO3. FYI, there is one polyatomic positive ion that we will look at. If you guys look at the top of your chart. Do you guys see it?
Ammonium.
NH4 is ammonium. So this is ammonium, and then what's the second part? Bicarbonate. All right, go ahead and hit stop, Logan.